All right. So welcome everyone. I'm in my kind of bonus room in my house. So hopefully the internet will function like it should, and we won't have too much outside noise. Um, Let me talk to you a little bit about this week, and then we'll see if anybody has any questions. Um, I'm going to be very honest with you. This is a very important part of your creed document. In fact, I think a lot of people would say goal setting. I think Inner Victory talks about the importance of people, the value of setting goals and the difference setting goals can make. But this is the creed document that I struggle with the most, and members of the class struggle with the most. And so hopefully as we go through this, we can clarify how to do this so it's best for you, best for your assignment. And I'm going to talk about two different ways of setting goals. The first way of setting goals is what's outlined in Inner Victory. And Inner Victory is got a great concept on it. And then we're going to talk about an alternative way. And I'm going to give you the option on your creed document to do it either way. And I'll hopefully I can explain that well enough. So as far as Inner Victory goals, there are two kinds of goals. There are A goals and Z goals. A goals are tied to your values. So this last week, you guys created a list of values. And I commented on a lot of them. Super job mostly on these. One of I don't remember which class member actually had one value per day. And the value was assigned to a day. And that's what Stephen Covey would teach, is that you'd want to have one value per day. And then you might set goals for each of those values. Z goals are like your bucket list. So a Z goals would be like ride in a hot air balloon, visit China, go to all the temples, that might be a value goal. But so let's talk about A goals first. A goals, by the way, if you guys have questions, feel free to, let me get my chat window up. I have not done that yet. To throw something up on chat or just talk to me. But A goals are tied to your values. And the way that I would mention this would be your values are the why. Why do you want to have something done? Goals are what you want to achieve based upon your values, and objectives are how. And we would want you to try and make your goals be SMART. SMART goals mean that they're specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and have a time element. So specific's pretty simple. The more specific it can be, the better. If you can measure it, you'll have more success. If it requires action, if it's realistic, meaning it's achievable, and there should be a time frame. So I'm going to show you an example of a SMART goal, okay? Attend the temple at least twice monthly in 2018. That's the goal. And then listed below that are the objectives. Set a schedule, attend endowment sessions when I travel, do at least 12 family names, and participate in ward assignments. Now, here's how this meets the SMART elements, okay? Attend the temple. That is specific and requires action. Two time elements here, twice monthly and in 2018. And realistic and measurable. I either did it twice a month or I didn't. And being in Rexburg, attending the temple twice a month is realistic. Now, if I lived in, someplace where the nearest temple is 3-day drive away, attending the temple twice a month wouldn't be realistic. So are there any questions on a SMART goal? So as you look through your goals, every one of your goals should have all of the goal statements, should have all these elements. And I'm going to talk about some bad examples and some good examples here in a minute. Any questions that you guys have on that? It's pretty basic. The second part is objectives, and we've talked about objectives as well. Then for this assignment, if you want to do the Inner Victory style, 5 to 7 value statements with affirmations, that's last week. 5 to 7 goal statements with objectives, typically one goal for each value. Okay, that's the one way to do it. And then the second part of this is your Z goals. So here's a list, an example of some Z goals. These would be mine. Walk where Jesus walked. Take my wife to the Philippines where I served my mission. Visit South Wales where some of my ancestors came from. Write a book. Win a photography contest. Take a class on computer graphics. Pick up my sons and daughters on missions. Visit Civil War sites and meet John Stockton. Now, Kayla's asking the goal, can the A goals be tied to the values that we already stated? The answer is yes. In fact, they should be tied to the values that you've already stated. So, does that answer your question, Kayla? Okay. So, in summary, option one. Now, this isn't going to be in the syllabus, so you need to pay attention to what I'm saying here. Option one is do this style and do both parts. A list of values, a list of goals tied to your values, and objectives for each goal. And the objectives can be 1, 2, 3, doesn't matter however many you think it'll take to get the goal. And then your bucket list, your Z goals. List the kind of the icing on the cake goals that you'd want to do. Okay. Now, here's option two. This is a book called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. It's written by 3 people, but the main author is Chris McChesney. Chris McChesney is actually an alumni of BYU, Idaho. He attended Ricks College. This is a international bestseller. He travels all over the country training in it. Now, let me just ask you before I tell you what I like about 4 Disciplines of Execution. They call it 4DX for short. Do you guys perceive any challenges or obstacles? Some of the challenges and obstacles would be for this type of goal setting. Any ideas? Okay, well, one of the main obstacles is listed. Yeah, go ahead.
Brother Davis, could you repeat that question? There was some background noise. I didn't hear the question.
What I just described, which is a list of goals tied to your values, 5 to 7 goals with objectives, and a bucket list goals. What would be some potential obstacles, or what would be your concerns about that? Or are there any? And if not, it's okay, because I'm going to share with you my concern. Okay. Well, the 4 Disciplines of Execution describes kind of our life. We have what they call the whirlwind. The whirlwind is our day-to-day living. It's the real work that we do. And the problem with the whirlwind is it can suck us in. It can take up like all of your time. And because of that, oftentimes we'll set goals and we'll list them and we'll have high hopes that we'll actually work on the goals, but then they get kind of blindsided, or they get kind of sucked. They kind of get pushed to the side. This whirlwind pushes them to the side, and it just becomes wishful thinking. Well, the best way to beat that is to do what we call creating a wildly important goal, okay? Wildly important goals. Now, this is the idea behind the 4 Disciplines of Execution. When you do this, discipline 1 is you should pick just one goal to work on at a time. It doesn't mean that the others are not important, but it just means that if you focus on one, this is the keep it simple idea, you can do more with less idea, is if you focus on one wildly important goal at a time, that doesn't mean the others you can't get to later, or you don't want to think about or try a little bit, but focusing on one discipline improves your chances of actually achieving that goal. So here's the example. A wildly important goal, you should write it this way. This is very similar to SMART. Write it from X to Y by when, okay? So an example of that would be, I will weigh 160 pounds by July 1st, 2018. Okay? Simple, but specific, and there's a time element. From X, where I'm at now, so let's say this is me, not 2018, I'm 180 pounds. According to the doctors, I should be 165. So I'm like modestly overweight, okay? So they would say I should get to 160, 165 pounds. So my goal would be, I want to get to 160 pounds. Let's say this now goes to 2020, 160 pounds by July 1st, a year from today, next year, okay? And you should only have one, maybe two wildly important goals, okay? That is discipline one. Now we call, and this is the reason why this is important, there will always be more good ideas than there's the capacity to execute. And the reason is we live in the whirlwind. We have our day jobs. So this is science. This is proven. If you set 1 to 3 goals, you might get 1 to 3 goals. If you set 4 to 10, you might get 1 or 2. If you set 11 to 20, you'll get 0. So the idea, and I'm giving you this option, if I see in your personal creed document, and please label it a WIG, and you just say, this is my one goal. I'd like everybody to still do a bucket list. They're just fun. The Z goals, everybody still do those. But this is my one goal that I'm going to work on right now. It doesn't mean the others you can't work on later, but this is the Benjamin Franklin model. He worked on one virtue at a time. You should work on one goal at a time. Okay? Now, this is discipline 2. This is like objectives. You need to act on the lead measures. Okay? Now, you have a lag measure. Your lag measure is your weight. Let's use that one goal. Okay? My lag measure is whatever I'm weighing today. I could get on the scale every single day and say, I'm 180 pounds. Tomorrow I'm 181. It fluctuates. It might be 179. Well, just looking and thinking about the lag measure, the wildly important goal is not going to make me lose weight. So I need to find 2, maybe 3 things that will influence the lag measure, weight loss, and we call those lead measures. So lead measures must be these 3 things. They must influence the WIG, they must be predictable, and they must be measurable. Okay, so this is an easy example because we know that in weight loss, there's typically 2 things that we can control, that we can predict, that we can measure. And that is, how much am I eating and how much am I exercising? If I eat less or more smartly, and if I exercise more and burn more calories, I can predict that my lag measure, my weight, will drop. And here's an example. The lead measure should have influence, leverage on the lag measure and can predict that it will do it. Okay, any questions so far? So discipline 1, pick one goal, write it very specifically from X to Y by when. Discipline 2, pick a couple of lead measures that can influence the lag. Here's another example. I could say that my lag measure, my wildly important goal, is my GPA. So let's say that this next semester I commit to do a wildly important goal of getting, let's pick a number, a 3.7 GPA. Maybe it's a 4.0, I don't know, okay? Well, me just thinking about getting a 4.0 or a 3.7 isn't going to affect that. What would you guys say? You can shout it out or type it in. What would be some lead measures for GPA? Any ideas? Study time. Thank you, Andrea. Okay, any others? Often better to have more than one lead measure, but that one is very influenceable. Homework scheduling, set a schedule. Okay, completing assignments on time. Maybe making sure you attend class. Okay, making sure, Joshua, you're getting enough sleep. Excellent. Okay, so really, really good. All right. Discipline 3, you should create a compelling scoreboard. We like to win. We like to see that we're winning. So if I was doing the weight loss one, somewhere on my fridge or above my computer, I'm going to mark each day. I'm going to have up there my lag measure. Okay, today I'm 175, 178. And I might change that every day. Every time I have a fluctuation, I might update it. Actually, I will update it. And then I'm going to, on the scoreboard, put my lead measures. Okay, I exercise 60 minutes a day and burn 700 calories. I ate this whatever, and this is the amount of calories I consumed. Now, if I was to do this 20 years ago, this would be difficult because it would be hard. It's easy to track how long I exercise, but I may not know how much calories each exercise does, or what is, I could look at the label of everything I eat. That's a pain. But there's some apps out there that are really helpful. So I use MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal is an app for your phone that makes it super easy. So I did this. I rode a bike for 60 minutes. It tells you how many calories. I ate a Snickers. I ate eggs and toast, orange juice for breakfast. I had a Snickers in between. I had a hamburger and fries for lunch. And I did this, and then I did this for dinner. And it tells you all that you're doing. And it'll also say, hey, you burned 700 calories. Therefore, you can eat a little bit more and still lose weight. But it'll also tell you, you didn't exercise, you ate too many calories. This is what it's going to do to your weight. Okay. And then MyFitnessPal gives you a scoreboard. It gives you, where you can track your lag, measure your weight, and go for that. And it's really easy. This is an older version. It's now Under Armour, MyFitnessPal. They bought it, but it still works. I did this religiously 1 year, and I went from 182 to 165. And it was easy, and I kept track of it, and it was motivating. My wife and I went on a vacation to Belize. That was my goal, was to lose my weight before I went to Belize. And then I came back, and I said, I'm just going to keep exercising. I'm not going to worry about tracking calories. And I gained all my weight back. So you have to do both if you want that particular goal. Okay? All right. The last discipline is create a cadence of accountability. That means you need to have somebody that you meet with once a week. And when you meet with that person, and it might be just your journal, you're given accounting of how you did that week with your lag and lead measures. You're going to review your scoreboard, and you're going to make a plan to do better this next week. And that's the thing. Now, I want you to read, I shared this quote in the announcement, but I'm going to share it again. This is one of my favorite quotes of all time, and it actually has almost all the elements of why 4 disciplines of execution work. He said, President Monson, when we deal in generalities, we shall never succeed. If your goal is just a wish statement, it's not specific, it's not smart, it's not likely going to go anywhere. When we deal in specifics, we shall rarely have a failure. So that's why your WIG goal or your A goal should be specific. When performance is measured, performance improves. That's why we need the scoreboard. When performance is measured and reported, cadence of accountability, the rate of a performance accelerates. So this is true for any endeavor you're in. If you set a specific milestone, if you'll create some kind of way to measure progress, and you have somebody to report to, and you report to them, you're going to achieve it more likely to succeed at it. Okay? So here's a couple of examples. Now, this is why I wanted to do this meeting early in the week, for 2 reasons. One, I want to make sure that you all have the option of doing the WIG method instead of the inner victory method. Either's fine. 2, I don't want to see any left column goals. Okay? Left column goals are just wishes. I will try and lose weight. That's not a goal. Okay? A SMART goal or a WIG goal would be, I will weigh 160 pounds by July 1st, 2018. It's specific, it's measurable, and it has a time frame. Another example, be a better gospel scholar. Okay, that's a good idea, but a goal would be, preach my gospel, and mark all relevant scriptures by December 31st, 2018. Okay? Have a more loving relationship with my spouse. Go on a minimum of 52 weeks once a week with my spouse in 2018. Okay, that's specific. All right, here is, I'm going to show you, how many examples am I going to show you? I'm going to show you a couple of them, okay? And we're not going to go through all of these, but these are from other students in the class. Let's do the top left one. So you can see this is actually quite a bit older, but that's okay. Goal, complete the P90X program in 2013, okay? The objectives, follow the workout, set apart an hour of time, follow the diet program, okay? Bottom left, goal, to study the scriptures every day. That's pretty simple, but it is specific and there's a time element. Set aside half hour every day to read the scriptures and don't let anything get in the way, okay? So let's go to another Creed document example. Now you can see that in this example, all of the Creed document elements are on one page. In this example, this person is going to list multiples on a page. Okay, but that's okay. There's no set formatting thing. So let's do the truth. So she's listed her values. Okay, her values are failure, learning, truth, work. Let's go to the next one to see what other values she has. Creativity, health. So in this example, truth, study scripture at least 15 minutes a day. Very similar to the other one. Study in the morning, find a place where it's quiet, not distracted, begin and with prayer. Okay. Work, accomplish all homework before or around 7 p.m. Okay, that's a good goal. It's specific, it's measurable. Okay. So in summary, what I'm recommending that you do is everybody should have 2 sets of goals. One would be your inner victory or WIG goal. Either one's going to be fine. And your list of Z goals, okay? If I see 7 goals and objectives, I'll know you're doing inner victory style. That's perfectly fine. And I think it's a good idea to have a list of goals, but then I would say, this is the one I'm going to focus on right now. And then list objectives. If you do the WIG, you can have 1 or 2 WIGs, list them with the lead measures, which is what are the things that are going to impact that top goal. Okay, any questions from anybody? Any comments or questions? Okay, I'm going to stay on, as always, to see if you have any questions. So just to give you a preview, next week we do gratitude. The next week we finish. That's going to feel early because we actually finish usually the week before the end of the semester. The last week of the semester is one assignment that will take you literally 5 minutes. So just know that we are going to, and so Kamir's asking, with the WIG, we only need 2 minimum. 1 is okay, 2 is okay. I would not do more than 2 if you're going to do a WIG style. Okay, 1 or 2. Okay, thank you, and we will talk next week.